And we are back. As promised, we'll be talking about a very interesting conversation because it involves you. Yes, we're talking about the democracy of the ballots, democracy in the ballots, right? We expected that we will vote very soon, come 2027, that how is the process like? Even leading to that, how is it like? So we want to have this particular discussion, and I have two great gentlemen joining me. One of this gentlemen is not just anyone, he's an author. He's come with his book, very well prepared, and the book is called Illusion of Democracy at Kenyan Ballots. So that's why we're looking at democracy at the Kenyan ballots, right? And it's been written by him, Dixon Alwatch, and he'll tell us more about himself because he's also the chair of Safina Party, no, Safina Party Youth League, that is led by Jimmy Wanjigi. So he'll tell us more about that. We have also been joined by another gentleman. He goes by the name Maurice Otunga. He is a student at UON, but he'll tell us more. So let me start with you, Maurice, since you're here.
Okay, good morning, Steph,
Good
and
morning.
good morning to our viewers. I'm Maurice Otunga. I'm a student at the University of Nairobi in my third year now, and I'm happy to be here. I hope our viewers will enjoy the conversation we'll have today. I'm seeing it being a very wonderful one with the book.
Absolutely.
I'm eager to read it. Yeah.
Okay, so I have the advantage of it. Yeah. So what are your interests in politics? What in Kenyan politics?
Okay, my interest in Kenyan politics is especially the youth politics. We see a lot of youth rising, like Dixon here is the youth leader in the Savina Party of Dr. Wanjigi, and yeah, Dr. Wanjigi, I know Dr. Wanjigi. Yeah, and that is a good step because youth in politics, people in politics start when they are young. Yeah, nobody start the politics when he's 40 or 50.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Thank you for coming. Let me go to you, Dixon. Introduce yourself. Anything that I've not introduced already.
Okay, my name is Dixon Alwatch. I'm an author. I'm the one who have written Illusion of Democracy at the Kenyan ballots, and I've asked that after the betrayal at the ballot, why should you vote anyway? I'm the chair of Safina Party Youth League, headed by Jim Wanjigi and Willis Otieno Wakili. Actually, this is a petition that we have brought on board, that the election should happen in the 5th year. We are the people championing that elections should be done in 2026, not 2027.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's in the Constitution. I think it's Article 256 of Article 2 there, says that election shall be done in the 5th year. But Kenyans have been interpreting wrongly, think that election should be done after 5 years of the general election.
Okay.
So it's a nice conversation going across the media networks, across the country, and we are privileged and hoping to lead this country 2027 or 2026 as per the way court will decide.
as the court will decide.
Yeah, thank you for hosting us.
Amazing. I'm just curious, why did you write this book, and why the title Illusion of Democracy at the Kenyan ballots?
Indeed, there's illusion. We are living in the world of dream. Like we get a lot of enthusiastic and propulsion to go and vote, yet after voting, we remain a bystander. We are not even part of governance. We are just dreaming of good governance. It is an illusion. And it is a cycle and a recycle. My book starts from 1957, when the first election happened in Kenya. If you check from 1957 up to 2002, then from 2013 up to now, there's recycling and cycling of the impunities, corruption, embezzlement. So it's like we are living the world of dream, that one day maybe we will vote right and we'll bring right leaders aboard. So this is an illusion, and I was just focusing on Kenya and the issues that are going on. And you get that a lot of people are bitter now. Most of people who are in payroll, people are in employment because the taxes are so huge, health sector not working. So these are the betrayal to the people, because any country, anywhere, people vote for three basic commodities, one of them being education. Number 2 being health care. Number 3 is being affordable living. Yeah, living within the means, even below the means. But it is exact contradict to what is happening to our nation today. So it is a betrayal of the ballot. And this is the reason why if you get people across the street and at the grassroots, and I've done a lot at the grassroots level, you'll find that people are like, no, I have no reason to go and vote. And by their own wisdom, at that capacity, they're just right. Yeah. After the betrayal of the ballot, why should you vote? My book is not to discourage people from voting. I've put reason, just like a question that has been brought aboard. Why should we vote? And then I've tried to educate people about what we should be considering. For example, Kenya have gone under 4 phases since 1957. That one is before independence. The first phase, we call it pre-independence phase, or the colonization phase. It was a phase 1957 where the likes of Kenya Jaramogi Oginga, Akina Tom Mboya were elected. Yeah. After that phase, after independence, we had post-independent phase where Kenyans had an expectation, and among the expectation, Mzee used to call them matunda ya uru. People had expectation of getting their lands back. People had expectation of getting their wealth back. The third phase is now the phase where the political patterns that we are having now fought for. For example, multi-party state when there was unicameral system of governance. The Moi era, the 82 era. It was a phase that people fought with blood, people were arrested, killed. Yeah, the dissent was silenced. Yeah, and Kenyans are not understanding the phase that we are in now. We are no longer in pre-independence or post-independence or the unicameral, the fought for bicameral system phase. We are in the system of economic revolution. We are telling people that we don't have political instability as per now. What we are in need of is economic revolution. That's why we have even the right to come freely, even write a book mirroring such kind of things, come into the media, talk about these affairs. Because we have that political stability, it was already fought for. So what people need to understand is how to get economic stability. And that is the card that the political patrons are using to unite people at the ground. You find that is the reason why people are still reasoning as per the tribal line. Yeah? They are just right within their right because they have not been educated. But we are trying to urge people that we should know that the trend and the global even market, things have changed in economic phase. So if we are putting our mind in line of political line where we are still rewarding people who fought then, and it's like we are giving them a token and forgetting at the moment we are living in here, then we will continue living at the illusion. Yeah? And that is the title, Illusion of Democracy, at the Kenyan ballots. I've talked about also the issue of churches. There are some institutions that are independent that the people of Kenya are expecting to fight for them, apart from things like judiciary and legislature, among them being religious institution. And look at that now, the religious institutions have been absorbed so much in politics that the people have remained by themselves. No one is speaking for themselves. And that's why you can see a member of parliament carrying millions of money in paper bags, bringing them to church, yet the clergy cannot question the source of the money or why are you carrying this kind of funds and your salary is not within the meat. The clergy cannot ask, why are you bringing this much to churches, yet there are children who are lacking fees. There are children who don't have classroom, studying under trees. So it is an interesting book, and I will urge Kenyans to read it. I'll avail it online soon enough. Yeah.
Wonderful. So it's you just published it?
Yeah, it was just published recently.
Wow. Okay.
Actually, we are planning on a book launch. It's not yet been launched.
Wow. So you are the first one to get it, to get the information, the gist about the book. This is quite something, and maybe we'll get more into it. But I want to ask you, Maurice, what is your take on the democratic process from what he has said? You know, we go vote, but with the illusion that things will be good, but things do not work out.
Okay, the illusions are brought by tribal politics. They are brought by rewarding the dynasties, as Dixon has said, because you find some people just vote because they have seen their tribe in the ballot, somebody from their tribe in the ballot, or some people are voting because they want to reward, let's say, Raila Odinga, because he was one of the people championing for democracy back then, in the phase 2 of the Moi era. And also, the illusion is bought by rewarding the dynasties. You know, if youths wants to stand to vie, people will say that this guy has no money, he has no political connection, and I don't think he can work. But that is where Kenyans go wrong, because they give the power, they give the work all to people with money and dynasties who usually come back there and do nothing for 5 years. Yeah, that is why democracy, we vote, but we don't see any dream of a good governance we really want. Yeah.
Okay. So it's the good governance that we're lacking in the country.
We are lacking.
In your own opinion, then how do we get tutapataje good governance, and what does good governance look like for mtu mwenye ako pale kwa hao yeye anasema yeye anataka kupata job tu, you know, anataka government ampatie job, in provide opportunities, but for him, what is good governance?
Okay, good governance is governance that works for the people. You can elect more youth leaders, because 70% of Kenyans are youth. And if you elect a youth leader, he or she will understand most or all of the problems we are going through in our time. Because most of the leaders we elect are, let's say, Gen Millennials, some are lost generations, some are Gen Y. They don't understand the current problems we are facing, like, let's say, things like AI, things like Facebook, because they grew up in an era that those things weren't there. So if we bring young leaders, they will know how to see our problems and act upon them, so that they can make more jobs for the youth in the AI sector, in the entertainment industry, in a lot of sectors. So good governance entails just electing leaders that will know will work. People like, let's say, Kina Peter Salasia, Kina Babu Wino, those are youths. And if we elect more of them like that, Kina Morara Kebaso, I saw him wanted to vie for president. That will be a good thing, because Morara Kebaso has a mind that can help Kenya to grow, and that is a mind we need for good governance.
Okay, and Morara Kebaso did not send you to represent
No. No.
Okay, good. Back to you, Dixon. What is good governance?
No, good governance may be diverse depending on the person you are telling about the good governance. For example, there are people who are embezzling. For them, that is good governance for them. Yeah. There are people who are in need of the governance. They are in need of the impact. They really want that impact, but they are not getting it. So me, I'm speaking on the line of those people. Any person who is saying that they are good governance or they have good policies of governance, in any person who is bringing the policies of economy, that's according to me. Because what is the problem that Kenyans are going through, most of the youths? It is unemployment. That is not political. That is economic. That's why, as we are in Safina, we are deeply and greatly condemning the current governance. You know, back then our president said that he wanted Kenya to be at the level of Singapore, Malaysia, Israel, and South Korea.
Yeah, and I can see it's in chapter 3 of your book right here.
Yeah. And among the things that, if you check at what led Singapore grow, among them is meritocracy. But if you check at the parastatals in Kenya, rather than 97% of them are being occupied by one ethnic group. But another thing that youth should focus on the policies that leaders are telling them, is issue of employment. In any country should be open to international technocrats that are bringing impact, immigrating them. Like, we should be open for the immigrants that are global technocrats, people who have high skills, because they are coming into our country to boost our economy. For example, there are people who have a lot of knowledge even in nuclear energy, and how we can use it in our villages and you know, reduce the cost of electricity, etc., etc. I think last year around November, I saw some investors with the same nuclear energy. They came in Kenya. But again, they are immigrants who we are bringing on board to do the cheap work like making roads, road construction, things that youth should be the people doing. Yet, the government of Kenya is importing the same youths outside to Saudi Arabia to go and do those jobs that Chinese are doing here in Kenya. You know, that's a riddle. Yeah, it is a complicated more than we may be thinking. That's why I'm telling people that any person who wants a good governance must now focus on economy. Yeah, we must put away politics aside. I know people are in politics, politics as a game. And some time back, I heard Mutai Ngonyi saying that even the president himself is the master of the chess, because of a student of a gentleman called Niccolo Machiavelli, who was the political patron. He wrote a book in 1530 called The Prince. So it is, Niccolo Machiavelli principle are a little bit harsh principle. They are not principles that are favoring the country. You know, it reaches a point there, a nation becomes bigger than Niccolo Machiavelli principle. And that's why if you go to Burkina Faso, everywhere is looking at them. They are our example now. Yeah. If you go to Niger, if you go to Senegal, if you go to Botswana under the new regime now, they're example that people are emulating. Even South Korea, Ramaphosa is doing greatly well as we speak. So Kenya, until we wake is when we'll get governor. And then number two, the people must know that they are the reason for their own destruction. Okay. You know, there's a proverb that says that in matters combatants, a bystander is more at risk than the combatants. That's the reason why they are more at risk themselves. Number one, people are not willing to participate directly. Or number two, people are willing to fight the people who are in need of helping them. People, there's what I've called in my book, illusion of democracy at the grassroots. And illusion of election, erosion of election at the grassroots level. You find that the people of Kenya, most of from the region where I'm coming from, they have known that the political patrons have captured the region, yeah? And they have bring the policies that are in favor of them, making even the people who are interested in leadership to play by the rules of the political patrons to get the seats. That's true. Because if you play away the rules of the political patrons, you don't get the seat. Yeah. Chinua Achebe talks of a book called A Man of the People. He's saying that there's a chief, an MA called Enanga, who was made available. He made himself available and accessible in his village, Ananta, and in the city. And people used to call him a man of the people. And if you read the book, you will compare that this MA, this MP from Ananta is very close. We closely relate with the politicians in Kenya, most at our grassroots level, yeah? Whereby the political parties, they come and convince you. They tell you what you want to hear. They avail themselves that Ananga, like these people have good policies for us. Let's play to their cards, yes? But after these people are getting elected, then they must work hard to entertain and place the political patrons in favor of the next seats, making them not to focus on the things that the people needed at the ground. That's why to go in those regions, there are no roads. For that, we blame the Wananchi. Because it is not only those who come. There are also people who come with different political parties. They come with good objectives, but we become foolish enough. We're like, because you are not under this specific party, we cannot appoint you. You are arbitrary. This party fought for deliberation. And that's why people should learn history. People should live at the contest. So if people want good governance, then it starts from you. You must be, yeah.
Can I interrupt you in a second?
Yeah.
About the good governance, you have talked about political patrons. You know, sometimes you can elect a good leader in Kenya here, but you find that that leader was incorporated by the West. So he can't do nothing or anything because maybe his superior powers will, let's say, influence what he decides or what he does. Like recently, we saw Ruto was a Western US-leaning president. But when Biden left office, now is leaning to the East. So sometimes we might elect a good leader, but the leader is under the influence of the Western powers. So how will you explain that?
That point that I said is so deep.
Yeah. And can we really fast before you answer it?
Okay.
Can we really validate the fact the statement that you've said that he was a West-leaning president, now he is an East-leaning president. So
that is validated.
Can we really?
It is documented. Let me validate it.
Yeah.
Please do.
You know, some months ago, we saw RSF coming to KICC. You know, people who are looking this with the outer eye don't understand what was happening. That was a propulsion from the east. Some time back.
Please clarify RSF for those that don't know.
Some time back, I think last year when Biden was under control, the president approved the LGBTQ thing. And then after Trump coming on board, he
changed the tone?
He changed the tone. There's a game of the West and the East. These are people that have captured Africa and for their own benefit. For example, United Arab Emirates has now captured Kenya. And this is more evident. It is. There are
How?
records. Let me give you an history, a brief one. In 2011, there was a leader in Libya who was killed called Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi had a rival called After Hifter. I've written it in my book. After Hifter was a rival, he went to an exile. It was hosted by the United Arab Emirates. So after the death of Kibaki 2011, After Hifter came back to Libya, and United Arab Emirates used him to extort oil in Libya. There are a lot of as we speak, Libya is the most poorest, among the most poorest countries in Africa. The oil was frozen. In 2015, we have all heard of Houthi rebels. 2015 in Yemeni identified and they realized that they had an oil. Yeah, the United Arab Emirates considered a war. They this is in media spaces. It is documented. Yeah, so it is not my word, but I've even echoed it. It is in my book. People will buy it, will see. In 2015, the United Emirates they propelled the war in Yemen. Yeah, and Yemen minerals were exhausted. Yeah. And then they departed them and went. Now there's a war in Sudan. Most of the people think that Sudan war is about political. It is not. The Sudan rival General Hemdeti Dahalo, the leader of RSF, is being used by the United Arab Emirates to smuggle gold. In exchange, is being provided weapons, ammunition to support him and to bring on power. And that's why people who are so much deep understanding the global economy and the global trade, they will tell you that that's the reason why the RSF came into Kenya. I won't go deep in it, but even that has impacted us because of that. You saw the Sudanese; they have been the largest importers of our. We have been exporting tea largely worldwide to Sudan. They blocked us. We cannot take tea and tobacco to Sudan, and they are the largest consumers. And Chad and the other country benefiting have also been getting our products through Sudan. Where's the market? Now, I think farmers in Mount Kenya region are now crying because now it's a global crisis. The gentleman said that the leaders are becoming puppets of the West and the East. It is true.
So you agree with that?
That's why we suggest, we are even opinionating that even story of our policemen being taken to Haiti may be a proposal that was written by someone that we now offer, we can bring you this. Because how is war in Haiti concern us when you have our own issues and our own problems? And our brothers and sisters who went there, they have been dying miserably. And that reason, that very same reason, has made Kenya to be at a very dangerous position, even globally. And that is the reason why even we lost AUC, because our liaisons with the countries on board are not well. Our leaders are too greedy. They are puppets to the West, and they are ready to change their music anytime. Nelson Mandela says that a man who changes his principle based on a person he interacts with, such a man can never lead anyone. He cannot lead a nation. But it's unfortunate that that's the leader we're having, and the people of Kenya are still praying at the tribal line. You go into a region, they tell you, but you know what, we have never been considered in government for a long time. This person has brought us favor. There is an MOUCG that was written, these things will be implemented. If you're a wise, can you realize that even the things that are written in that MOU, they don't need an MOU to be implemented? Do we need to be adapted? Do we need an MOU to be written that we don't need adoption? Do we need an MOU to be written that
because those are your rights already, right?
They are our rights. Or by a privilege, are we saying that we should we should get into the government to get benefits of being in government? Does it mean that if you're outside government, then uh, yeah, yet we are paying taxes, etc., etc. That's why we are saying that sometimes it is the people to blame. Yeah, me even youth, I'm blaming even the youths. Yeah, how many youths are in government? How many of them? There are a lot of them. And what are they doing?
But Maurice said that we have youths who are working, and he mentioned the likes of Babu Owino and Salasia, you know, MP. So do you
those are just a few who are working.
But okay.
But there are many. There are many who are just there. My take to people is always one. We should not focus on the age, because sometimes we need positions that should be held by the technocrats with the experience. Youth may not be in that position. We should underline with the policy. You know, if you are reasoning with the age, it's like we are discriminative, saying that because I'm from specific tribe, I should get a position. Because I'm of a specific age, we should get a position. What we should look is very simple. Let us look at the morals. Let us look at the policy. Let us look at the corruption, you know, the history of the corruption. We look at the skills, yeah, that even if I come at my age to the people, and I tell that this is my understanding to economy and governance, and by this age, this is what I've done. For example, me, I came up with enough program, a program that is now in 6 universities in Kenya, that impacted more than 20,000 youths when I was 19 years old, first year in campus. It peaked, it went.
Just hold that thought. You will tell us, you know, the impact that youths can do in their own individual capacity without saying, oh, serikali, fanya, saidia, and all that. But let me also get your view on getting this liberation that we are seeking, because clearly Africa as a continent, there's still the, how do we call it, the slavery, but in it doesn't really look like slavery, forget the word. But how do you think that we can really get off this, the influence that you have mentioned from the West, if there is, and also just get the corruption out of the country? Because looking at Kenya, corruption is really at the root of it. So unless we root out corruption, then we can't really get ahead. So what do you think should be done?
Okay, the correct word is neocolonialism.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, and a lot of countries in Africa still face that problem. And the quickest, we have only 2 ways to get out of the neocolonialism. One is the Burkina Faso way. There's also a democratic way. The way that we will just decide that our policies will be made and influenced by only us. Not that somebody from somewhere or some government, some senator in US is telling you to do this. And the Burkina Faso, you know, what the Western call dictatorship, what the Western call a coup, the Western nations, it's good to Africa, because look at Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso now, people are learning free, jobs are being created, yeah, because they're out of the shackles of France. But in Kenya, we can get through that democratically, because a coup is not a good thing, especially in a growing economy like Kenya. We can just do it democratically. Yeah.
And how is this democratic? Is it through voting? Will that
it's through voting. Somebody with no track records of getting instructions from the West, because these things are documented. There's some documentaries you see on YouTube, what the West really impledes on leaders we have. But if we have a leader that one day has just decided that it's enough, let us just do what we know is right. Let us just do what the people are saying. You know, sometimes the people are saying that create more jobs in this sector, invest in entertainment, invest in sports. There's a lot of things to invest in, but we still invest in the traditional sectors like agriculture. Like it's not bad to invest on those things, but the West want us to invest just on those things so that we can have a steady, slow economy. If you see some the biggest contributors to corporate tax of those big countries like US is majorly entertainment industry, the basketball, the music, the what. People invest in a lot of things. But here we are only confined to Agriculture.
But
Yeah.
don't you think that agriculture is our stronghold? In the West, they don't have the kind of climate we have. They don't have the kind of lands we have. So they have invested in their strength. And I'm not saying that entertainment is bad, but, you know, do you think that we should really move away from agriculture into the others?
Okay. Agriculture, we can't move away from agriculture because Kenya is an agricultural country. But a country can't be in a superpower level with agriculture alone. Look at the likes of Japan. They ventured more into industries, and they were in agriculture before they became a superpower. South Korea, the Singapore, I had Dixon talking about. Those countries were in agriculture, but they realized that we can't get our country forward with this alone. Okay. We must diversify. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. I don't know if you share the same sentiments, and also now looking into what can youth do in their individual capacity with or without being in political parties or in leadership positions.
First, changing the mind like my brother. You know, if you want to rely, youth should understand that the global, they also call the global economic index. There are things that we are ignoring, and those are the things that will help us. We cannot run away from agriculture. And even if you check on Singapore, which have done research, the former Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, he knew that Singapore was small, and he knew that the only way to bring Singapore on board was to revive agriculture. They never had enough land, enough natural resources, but they formed agricultural hubs, and they did greatly. If you read my book, I've talked about cotton. There's something I've called about CTA, Comprehensive Technology Approach, CTA, it's from page 107 of that book. I've given people a sample of avocado alone. And I've just told people that if you check on Mount Kenya region, the Murang'a, Kiambu, the Nyeri, Kisii area and Migori part, you know that the avocado that are being produced in that area can employ 2 million youths. Yeah? And we can export it, we can consume it, we can use it to make oil. Yeah? Yet 2 million people are employed. Only if the government can help by intervening with one, bringing educational reforms in support of that. Yeah. Number two, bringing land reforms in support of that. Number two, second plant that I've used is cotton growing, which we used to do in the Lake Belt region and in coastal region because of the climate there. People will wear clothes, people want designers' clothes. So here as we speak, the only country that is producing cotton largely and they're reaping big is Benin in Africa. Yeah. And the other countries that have invested in Benin. That's why it's a country that is so much protected, yeah? So we as youth, we must change our mind. We are dreaming big, yet the most important things that can help us, we are ignoring, like an agriculture. Maybe the government should diversify, but that diversification may take long, yeah? Yet there are things that that we are ignoring. That's number one. The second thing is that the economy of Africa, I've heard of my brother saying that Africa is still, you know, under that neoliberalism. I'm disagreeing.
You don't?
If you check at the Francophones, there are countries that they have even abandoned French as their language. Yeah? Do you know why Raila never got a UC? Do you know why Francophones never voted him that much?
Yes.
Because the Kenya, anytime we have a problem in Africa, you'll hear the president said, I've called Macron. Yeah? But the Francophone countries say that enough of Macron, enough of France. If you check at the third countries, yeah, as we speak, Ramaphosa, Botswana even they expelled the illegal immigrants of US back to their countries. They're like, just go back. Yeah.
We saw that.
Are you seeing it? So we can't say that Africa is still under neocolonialism. And that's why we
But Africa, can we say that it's rising above neocolonialism now?
There are some, it is, but there's some countries like Kenya, yeah, which it's so unfortunate that for us, our leaders, yeah, are still under that greed. They are not still thinking that we can rely alone, yeah. The odious debt that they are getting and the token that they are getting, Kenyans being paying, they're just benefiting at their own levels by themselves. But even us, if you listen to the people, they'll tell you that people understand economy, that we are able to survive without the West. Yeah? So it is my urge to the youth that not everyone can join politics. Yeah, not everyone will join politics or religion. Yeah, there are some problems that prayer will not even solve. There's some prayer that you must just wake up, and that's what the Bible says. Yeah, that the Lord blesses the works of your hand.
So you need to work.
Yeah, and we must understand that it is not a guarantee that if you graduate your art from university, you'll get a job. Those little things that we are ignoring, the talent, the culture, yeah, those are the things that the agricultural sector, those are the things that will give you a startup, a push. For example, may I realize that I'm good in writing. This is not my first book, actually. Yeah, we will tell that this is the waterline with the governance, economics, and politics. Yeah, after that, I have my talent in this.
So you have invested in that area.
I've invested in that, and that's what we must do. We should not be too much myopic. Yeah, we should not rely heavily on government. What we need in government is just a system that will help us, yeah, to push ourselves in that line. Recently, I was talking to some friends who are in Kibera, and they're telling me that they do this this drawing thing, yeah, illustrator matatu, kuchora, yeah, you know,
matatu culture, the
and
art.
I was so much humbled the way they were telling me the amount of money even they are making from that art alone, and they were telling me that, you know, if you for us, if we can just get a government that can help us through, yeah, we will push. I have a friend of mine who is, I know maybe you know it, Octopizo, yeah. Octopizo, there is a project in relation to art, to Melonji na yeye huko village, home, yeah. Through the art and culture, yeah. Bring out musicians wa kitambo, you know. And even I've wrote it in my book, how youths can rely on even elder travel singers' baggage to make money in tourist sector. I did nikasema in my book that if you go to Kambani, they do wood carving and they are best in it. If you go to Kakamega region, those Mulembe region, wako nice portable fighting. And that is what is attracting tourists is Spain, what the word called Spain and
That's working for them.
Yeah. If you go to Luo, let me just finish. If you go to Luo land, you'll find that we are good in pottery. Yeah. And those things are running away. Ukikuja kwa hizi hapa Waikiki, Ngong Road, hizo malls kubwa, unapata there are those pots there. Zinatoka wapi? Unapata zingine zimekuwa imported away. Youths, we must economize. We must make use of what we have. And that's why even say there's an initiative that I've come across I'm doing in Siaya County with a friend of mine called Rodney Amolo. Yeah, encouraging youths, yeah, to invest in agriculture, invest in skill. Rodney has come even with a project empowering CBOs, yeah, CGH, so that we should tusikue tu wa kublame serikali, and we are doing nothing by ourselves. There's a Niger proverb, Chinua Achebe says, that even a man who hangs around a beautiful lady without saying a word, end up fetching water. Yeah?
That is a famous one. We know that.
Yeah, and then he says again that there's a small bird called a neck, a small bird, who says that since the hunters known how to shoot without missing, I too must learn to perch, to fly without perching.
Okay.
It is resonate with us youths. We must learn to seduce, yeah, these opportunities that
attract them,
attract them, yeah. And we must learn from the neck of the small birds. That's the economy, even the global economy, the things have changed, yeah. Even the policies in governance have changed. We must learn to accommodate it. If we can't, we will continue blaming the government day in, day out, and bringing wrong people on board.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. And you wanted to interject and allow you to do that, even as you give us your final remarks. And this I'll ask from both of you. Why vote? Because people say they have given up on the system. They feel like it's the same people being recycled every other time. Even if I vote, you know, they will still not, you know, they will still win or they will change or whatever. So you can give your interjection as you comment on that.
Okay, that is not the narrative this time. This time we must vote. And it's in our constitutional right to vote. And be patriotic. Because it is through your vote, that one vote, that this regime will go home. This regime is not doing anything. And what I wanted to interject from him is that agriculture, the government is looking upon it very well. That I am not disputing. But okay, the entertainment, the way you said about Octopizo, what if the government talks to these international celebrities like the likes of the Disney channels, the Disney, the Nickelodeon, to come and film something in Kenya? The way they did with the Lion King, the way they incorporated Swahili, some people got jobs. that will raise more revenue for the country. And that is what I was talking about. We need some governmental aid. You know, a government is there to aid people create jobs, to aid in you creating jobs. But you will not be sitting there. You will be also doing something. But once the government see what you are doing, they say, let me aid this guy with finances and to boost him. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Where can people find you on your social media?
My social media, people can find me in X at Hon.Maurice Opio, Honorable Maurice Opio. Then at TikTok, I'm at Moditi254. Instagram, I am at MacPeasy Jr. Yeah, those are my socials.
Those are different names of three.
But they have one username.
Which is?
Maurice Opio.
Maurice Otunga, so they can search Maurice Otunga and they'll find you on that. Your final remarks on that, why vote come either 26 or 27 based on what the court will declare?
My final remarks, actually, it's in my book. The very last page of my book, there's a letter I've written there to the youths and Gen Z. They say that, the only weapons we do not need to go stone someone to go to the street. The only weapons that we need this time round is national ID and wake up and go and vote. Yeah. So I've written it in the book. Everything is there. You understand why you should vote. Illusion of Democracy, the Kenyan ballot. Maybe I can give my social handles.
Yes, please give it and tell them how soon they will be able to get the books.
From WhatsApp, you can call me 0710 730 032. And then TikTok at Owino99, Owino99, X Owino99 at Enough Fellows, and then Facebook Owino99, Instagram Owino99.
All right.
Yeah.
That's easy. So thank you very much, Dexon. Thank you very much, Maurice, for giving such insightful thoughts on this conversation. We hope to have you again to discuss further. So we have been talking about basically democracy in Kenya, particularly at the ballot, looking at different areas. I hope you've taken something from that. I hope you've been inspired to do something with what you have and just think beyond what is here. You are an influence as a person where you are, so do something about it. We're going to take a short break and then Brian Sacco will be coming next with yet another interesting conversation. Stick with us.